Hey, Coach. Good morning.
Good morning.
How we doing?
Doing really well.
Great, great. All right, everyone. Vanderbilt head coach Clark Lea with us now for the Commodores face Missouri on Saturday, 2 p.m. If you got a question, raise your hand as always. Robbie, start us off. Saw you first.
Hey, Clark, could you give us an update on the quarterback situation?
Sure. We'll see where Ken's at this week. He remains week to week. Wasn't able to go last week, so it was Mike was a starter, and that remains the same until Ken shows us that he can perform. Once he does, it's just a matter of how quickly he's to 100%, and where we feel like he can effectively manage and move the offense. Jeremy Musa will continue to be the backup and be prepared if he's needed. I thought he did a nice job coming in late in mop-up duty, and so we roll with Mike and Jeremy and see where Ken is. Kind of now it becomes day to day as we get near the end of his recovery.
Teresa.
Clark, what's the challenge in trying to correct some of the mistakes that you're still seeing in games? I'm thinking particularly you get the great stop on third down, even though you lose the interception, but then that punt. What are how tough is that when you see that as a coach, and how easy is it to maybe clean up some of those issues that are still popping up?
Yeah, I mean, it's brutal. I think it's brutal for everyone watching. And we're not proud of that. There's ownership in teaching from a coaching standpoint, and then there's ownership in execution and playing smart in the moment. But we're not capable right now of winning games unless we're playing complementary football. And certainly when our defense steps up and make a play, we have to seize that momentum. And as an offense, we have to be ready to counterpunch. And that sequence you're referencing, we got the interception. We're at the 35-yard line going in 10-3 in the second quarter. A score ties it. We give it right back to Mississippi State, who then we force another turnover that gets overturned, and then you have the punt sequence. And we're not able to overcome those things, and most teams aren't. Like, that's not necessarily unique to us, but where we are right now, we have to capitalize on those situations and maximize those. And so it's frustrating, but in the end, it's just another opportunity to teach it, and we continue to teach it until it becomes a part of us. I do feel like we've minimized our self-sabotage with pre-snap penalty issues and things that were showing up earlier in the year. But again, it's a complete game that we're after, and when you're making those mistakes, you're not playing a complete game.
All right.
Clark, you mentioned after the game on Saturday about Vanderbilt's struggles on third down, and both offensively and defensively, and I'm wondering what kind of went into a struggle on that level, on the third downs.
Well, there's criticism kind of that can be leveled across the board. Certainly there's play call, play structure where, on a defensive snap, you're looking at how you're leveraging routes, or if you're trying to play bracket coverage and double team, how you're leveraging those routes to take away the throws that they want to make. There's execution issues. So, maybe it was a good call, but we had a guy out of position. Again, I don't put that's not a blame on the players. That's, again, you start to scrutinize your systems for teaching and saying, how do we create a better understanding and awareness of how all 11 positions interlock? Offensively, it's, I think a combination of really two things. One would be an inability to establish a run game. So we have a 3rd and 2 snaps that becomes 4th and a long 2 as we're hitting the backfield. And then, the inability to deliver the ball on time and to get it into space. We had open receivers throughout the game, weren't able to get the ball off, and we step back and not judge that as performance, saying, like, why does this happen, and how do we how do we better position our offense to move it effectively in the air. We feel like we have good receivers, but what's frustrating is when they have a step or they're open and we're not able to deliver the ball. I think when we were able to get the ball on time to Chris Pierce in particular a couple times, obviously on the shot play to Devin Body, we were able to get it out on time and in location. Good things happen, right? So we have to replicate that and really become familiar with the areas where we're not quite able to read the coverage or make the read that allows for the ball to get out.
Chris Lee?
Hey, Clark, what is your philosophy in terms of using certain areas of the field in the passing game? And what I mean by that is it seems like throws between the hash, or I don't know if uncommon is the right word, but we don't see a ton of them. Is there a reason for that? Is it that a read that the quarterback's making? I just wanted to hear philosophically what you guys are thinking about using the middle of the field and maybe the whys and the why nots.
Well, we certainly don't exclude the middle of the field as a point to attack. In fact, the post shot was through the middle of the field. If you'll remember on the deep ball, digs and overs are a part of our offense. We have not been able to hit those successfully. I think we've done a good job in the short passing game over the middle, like particularly against Florida. We had a number of shallow crossers and shallow drives. And so I would say that a couple of times on Saturday we had one in particular, Ben Brezan on a naked on an over through the middle that we just didn't throw, and it's there, and that's the read. So we got to get the ball out. We had a third down with Devin Body on a shallow drive that we didn't throw, and that would have been over the middle. We didn't get the ball. And there are others in there too that, I think part of the problem, Chris, has been an unwillingness to step up at times into the pocket, and we look to flush out. And at times that has run us into the pass rush. And so we have to sync up in that pocket, and we have to gain comfort in stepping up into the rush and finding the throw over the middle. When you escape out, obviously you're limited to the outside edges of the field. We don't want to throw back across the middle. So it's not a design thing. I think it's an execution thing. Again, that's not to shift blame at all. That's to say, when we look at that, we say, okay, why are we not able to get these throws where they need to be? And how do we better or more effectively access those intermediate throws in the middle, which is, I think, what you're referencing, the digs and overs and things like that. So it's there. Now, with respect to the throws on the perimeter, I think what we have to understand is, part of effective offense is finding space. And so we're able to design space outside. We're able to, get press coverage to play off when you condense sets and open and attack space on the wide part. It's an easier throw for the quarterback, meaning there's not as much traffic, right? So I can hopefully get the ball up quickly. We've struggled at times in pass protection. So the rhythm and timing of the pass, if you can design space outside and I can get the ball out of the quarterback's hands, we can get rhythm in the offense. Some of those throws on the outside are part of run option plays. So you're seeing a corner that's off or leveraged a certain way, and you're just getting it off on the perimeter now. We've had success in those areas too. That was the touchdown against South Carolina, was a stop to Will Shepherd. First play against Florida was a now throw to Cam Johnson. So, it's a combination, but certainly, and I think particularly when you start talking about getting Cam going, getting Ben Brezan going, there has to be an ability to find those throws over the middle. We found them at times in the slant game. We found them at times in the shallow drive game. I think getting them to the overs on the nakeds and the digs certainly will be a part of our focus moving forward.
Bobby?
Clark, Eli Drinkwitz has a long history of success as an offensive coach, including this season. What makes Mizzou's offense so potent?
They're really well designed. We faced Eli at Notre Dame when he was at NC State, and we were impressed with the operation there. He's maintained parts of that There's also been evolution. Uses tempo as a weapon, uses perimeter screen game as a weapon, a stretch running scheme that's really effective. Their running back's a really good player. It's just smart design. He does a really good job. He knows how to put pressure on the defense. We'll have a challenge for sure. I do think that, you know, the past 3 games that we played will prepare us for this, you know, because I think this offense has bits and pieces of each one that we played against. So I'm excited for our defense, and I know they're excited too, but certainly with what coach does, he's very effective. That offense is effective, and we will have our work cut out for us.
All right.
You know, Vanderbilt's last SEC win was against Missouri in 2019. And obviously both teams have had coaching changes since then. But, you know, what do you think is, you know, different now than, you know, the last time that you guys won an SEC game? And what, you know, do you kind of have that in your mind that that was the last SEC opponent that you won, or is that not a consideration?
Not in the least. I don't spend any time parsing through the history, you know, the recent history of the program. My sole focus is on this team, and it's certainly preparing this team for each opponent. And every league game is an opportunity for us to find more about ourselves. And anytime we're short on a result, we're frustrated. And we're anxious to celebrate in our locker room after the game. But, you know, this year is about, you know, establishing a foundation. It's about, you know, learning how to compete. We are at the base level of the takeoff point here, and our time and attention is spent really on us. We certainly don't talk about, you know, how this game fits in the context of the recent history of the program. We talk about, you know, how are we going to go out on Saturday and fix the mistakes that Teresa referenced earlier with respect to playing complementary football, how we're going to go out and better execute and involve our offensive playmakers on defense, how we are in the right positions and anticipate where the ball is going to be thrown. Because if you do those things and you interlock the 3 phases, you're going to have a chance to win. And that's the goal. If you don't do those things, you leave it to chance. And right now, we don't have the ability to overcome mistakes. That's not where our program is. We have to be right. We have to be right consistently, and certainly have to take advantage of opportunities where the opponent leaves themselves exposed. We had those on Saturday. We weren't able to take advantage. And what you saw over time was the accumulation of a lot of little things that allowed Mississippi State to distance themselves in the result. And so certainly not to dismiss the question, Aria, just not where our focus is. In any nature, it's always on us. And I think particularly in year one, at the start of this climb and the start of this journey, we are really interested in seeing how the nucleus of this team forms through adversity. So really keeping a close eye on our locker room and the guys that are rising in this moment and stepping up in this moment and deepening their levels of preparation and becoming hungrier for that result and learning about how to derive result through preparation. It's all a process. It's all learning, and we're early in on it, but we're you know, I'm excited to see how this team responds and prepares himself for a tough challenge this weekend.
Chris, did you have another?
Yeah, Clark, just checking on the status of Ben Cox and De'Rickey Wright for this week, please.
Well, De'Rickey will remain out, and again, I referenced this on Saturday. That is a program standard issue, but we expect him to be back certainly before the end of the season. And he's, you know, taking accountability and on his way back now. He's doing a great job. We're really proud of De'Rickey. And again, these are the pains of rebuilding. Rebuilding has to start in behavior, and as certainly as adversity creeps in, you know, you have to steel yourself with the decisions you make when you're in the fire, because over time those habits are what form us and they become a part of us. So we support De'Rickey and we're excited to get him back, but he'll be out in the meantime. As far as Ben Cox goes, he'll be day to day. You know, I think it's not a long-term injury, but it's something that we'll have to monitor. came on in Thursday's practice, so it was late in the week, and may not be ready to go early this week, but we'll keep an eye on him and hopefully get him back by the middle to end of the week.
All right, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.